The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Hello and welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Bolden. We had a great show for you this week. Plenty to talk about. A lot of changes, of course. The weather changing because it's officially fall, and we have a change in co-host and guest for this week. Brett Morton filling in, pinch hitting for Andrew Brethauer. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. It's like, bonjour, comment ça va? Ça va bien, et toi? All right, perfect. Well, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. You stepping in, filling in, of course, doing a great bang-up job with New Cap Sports here, helping out on the weekends. And I know you're getting much love from Steelers Nation. Talking about the PWM Steelers, you came out. Maybe we were good luck for them, especially when they went 2-0 to start the campaign.
Oh yeah, 2 big wins. Hopefully they can keep it going throughout the year. And thanks for having me, first off.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot for coming on, my man. And thank you for coming on, too. This guy I usually hang out with for, 5 minutes, 6 minutes at a time?
Yeah, about that. That's really as much as we can do.
That's the cap we can do. Either one of us is going to die. Might most likely be me if we were in a fight. But I'm talking about Bart Padiasic, of course, here, New Cap Sports anchor, or New Cap news anchor.
Sometimes sports.
Yeah, he
has jack of all trades, weather,
yeah.
exactly. So he's a jack of all trades, but will he be a master of The Gloves Are Off? We'll see what happens. And we'll start it off with the NHL. Since the season starts in less than 24 hours time, you have some great teams that are going to be kicking it off. Of course, a nice all-Canadian matchup with the Leafs taking on the Habs. You also have the Rangers taking on Chicago. So you have the defending Stanley Cup champions who are going to be rolling in with Patrick Kane. And I think they're trying to put this whole thing behind him. It'll be interesting to see how that start goes. But what are you guys most excited about this year? Because a lot of talks about who went number 1, who went number 2, McDavid, Eichel, who'd have the better season, that sort of thing. And we'll start off with you, Brett. What do you think and what do you expect from this season? Who's your favorite to come out of it?
My favorite to win the whole thing?
Well, I'll say, you know what? Let's go with the East and West and maybe even the dark horses in the whole thing, too.
Okay, I'm going to say from the East, I think it's going to be the Washington Capitals year this year.
Really?
Yeah, I think Braden Holtby had a huge year last year. I think he's going to come back and step that up. Evgeny Kuznetsov there, he's coming in. He's going to be able to probably play with Ovechkin, if not on the second line. I think he'll be good. And Ovechkin, he's always good for 50 goals, always, most of the time. So I think he'll be good in the trades they made. They got TJ Oshie, Justin Williams. I think they're going to be the strongest team coming out of the East. And out of the West, that one's a toss-up. You know, everybody always says it's Anaheim's year, but it's been Anaheim's year for the last 4 years, and they still haven't done it. So I'm going to go on the stretch here. We were just talking to Craig Button, and he said Minnesota. And it clicked. You know, Minnesota was really good last year. They just about beat Chicago in the semifinal there in the Western Conference. So I think Minnesota might come out of the West, and I'm going to say they're also my dark horse because not many people have been talking about them.
That's interesting you say that because you look at Devin Dubnyk, the struggles he had when he was with, well, a little bit with Arizona, but you did with Edmonton. Look at him now. He's a #1 goalie and expected to have 30-plus wins this season. What about yourself, Bart?
Well, I'll start with the East. I think it's going to be Tampa Bay's year one more time, coming so close to it last year. I think they're a young team. Steven Stamkos is 25. They got like 13 guys that are even younger than him. They're hungry for this, and I think they're going to come in, especially with Stamkos, this being his contract year too, right? This is kind of when he has to show up, and I think he has to at the end of the day. For my dark horse on the East, though, a lot of people might not like this. I'm actually going to go with Montreal. This is going to be my bold prediction this year. I don't know if Carey Price can carry on the same season that he had last year. I don't know if he's going to be a Vezina contender or whatnot, but if he even comes close to that, I think it's going to be a good team, and I like PK Subban as well. Bold prediction, PK Subban with the Norse.
Hey, you know what? Your lips to God's ears, because I have my ears too. I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm hoping big things from that man myself. Okay, so you guys went with that. With the West, who do you say in particular? Because you haven't given us yet.
I was looking at the West last night, and I was thinking it's tough here. There's going to be a lot of competition out there, but I'm going to pick Chicago as my #1 team. The team I'm excited to watch, though, and I think might be a nice dark horse, would be Calgary. It hurts me to say this as an Edmonton Oilers fan. Such a fun team to watch, and now with Dougie Hamilton and Frolik on there, I think they're going to be a dangerous one, too.
Okay, well, let's move on to something a little bit around our time. We know at the beginning of the season, but tonight officially is the Fall Classic. You have October baseball, and this is where everything matters, from every single pitch to every single bat. None of this stuff about 162 games, that's out the window. This is where baseball's time to shine. You have a couple wild card games that will be going on today and tomorrow. Tonight you're going to have Houston taking on the CC Sabathia-less Yankees. They'll have Tanaka on the mound, but where do you see this matchup going in particular, and how does the AL kind of set itself up? Because if they go through, they take on Kansas City. The Jays are taking on the Rangers. A lot of things to be expected from those teams. How does it go out? How does the playoffs play out? Brett?
I see in tonight's wildcard game, I see Houston winning.
Okay.
Masahiro Tanaka is one pitch away from tearing his UCL. Like, it's already partially torn. All it is one, it could go one pitch. You never know when it's happening, and that arm could be done. And after him, I think they got nobody. They're a team that can win, but they're old. Like, you look at Ellsbury,
They
you look at
shouldn't
Rodriguez.
be there, but they got a lot of fight, though, with the Yanks.
That's the biggest thing, is they got to fight, and they got that old presence that know what to do. But I think Houston, with Dallas Keuchel on the mound, that guy might win the AL Cy Young over David Price, but I don't think he will. But he's definitely a close second. And they're so young. You got Altuve, you got Carrera, you got Marisnik, you got Colby Rasmus. Like, who is he? When he was in Toronto, he was nothing. He's actually doing pretty good in Houston. Chris Carter, that guy can hit a home run or strikeout. So, I just think Houston is the better team than the Yankees in that game. And then in the wild card for the NL, you got to go with Jake Arrieta and the Cubs. Jake Arrieta has like a .87 ERA since like the All-Star break or something. It's insane. Like, he's mental. So I think he'll be able to shut down the Pirates, and I think it's going to be the Cubs taking on the St. Louis Cardinals, Astros taking on the
Kansas City Royals.
And for any team to make it to the World Series in both leagues, it's got to go through Missouri. You got to. Like, Kansas City was there last year, and they're still good. Their pitching, in my opinion, is questionable. I had Johnny Cueto on my baseball fantasy team, and he took about 6 years off my life since he got traded. Just so inconsistent and driving me insane. So I think the only thing with the Royals is their pitching isn't as good as it was last year, especially their bullpen with Greg Holland out. So I think the Blue Jays can beat the Rangers. I think they'll beat the Kansas City Royals. I don't know how it's going to go in the World Series, though. And I think St. Louis will win the NL.
I completely agree. I think Houston's going to come out of the wild card. Their hitting is just way too good this year, right behind the Jays, pretty much. I actually like the NL wild card a little bit more. I think if we actually had a full series, it's almost a shame this is a wild card game. A full series would be so exciting for watch.
Second best team in baseball could be eliminated after tomorrow night.
It's crazy. It's up to a coin toss, but I'll take Chicago. And I think, Jays all the way. Even for a casual fan like me tuning in, it's been such an amazing year, especially that second half. I don't think anyone can stop the Jays all the way up to the end.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely fun to go through. How about this very quickly? We'll talk about the Border City. We've had some great inter-rivalries in this town. None better than the football programs between the Raiders and the Barons. We're going to see that again Thursday afternoon in Armstrong Field. Maybe an advantage considering how the schedule makers gave 4 home games out of the 6 to the Barons and only 2 for the Raiders, but the Raiders could win anywhere. Barons have been strong at home. Who do you take in this matchup? Bart, we'll start with you.
I'll go Vince Oreo and the Raiders. They're the only undefeated team pretty much in that league. I think Vince has proven he can build a team year after year. I think it'll be a nice rivalry at the end of the season.
A closer game?
It'll be a bit of a closer game, but I see the Raiders coming out on top, undefeated.
I agree with you, the Raiders for sure. The Raiders have given us reasons, or have given us no reasons to doubt that they won't win. Like, they've won for how long in a row, many games in a row, even continuing to last year. They're just unstoppable. And, the Barons, I still feel like they're still trying to figure things out in the offense, in a sense, and I think the Raiders already know what they're doing. I think the Raiders will go there and beat the Barons and finish the season undefeated.
Well, it's funny that you say that, too, because they're trying to figure things out. They have the 3rd best offense in the league when it goes to points for. That's the Barons. Their ground game has been fantastic with Mitch Anthony, right?
Yeah.
He's been a beast coming out of there, and they're slowly getting that passing game going, like you're mentioning. They're starting to figure things out.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be it's going to come down to a play or two. I might have to give the edge to the Barons because I think they have a little bit more a chip on their shoulder, considering what happened to them last year, considering that, like you said, the Raiders have been favored. They haven't really been tested outside of their game last week against St. Paul. So I think this is going to be a Barons upset for this contest, but it's going to set up a great matchup. I see these two teams meeting in the final as
sure.
well,
Yeah.
come down to late October. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we return, we're going to have more Gloves Are Off next.